In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Canon EOS R5 and the low light capabilities. Check these out. Okay, that was 13 different clips, different scenarios, all variations of low light. And what you need to know is that I shot every single one of those clips completely indie style, as in I didn't use any lights. So I pretended as if I was running and gunning, setting up my shots, and then those are the results. I want to take a moment and invite you to subscribe to the channel, because what we're doing here is we're building a community of filmmakers and content creators, photographers, people from different disciplines at different skill levels, where we can all share content, information, and experience so that we can all level up together. If you're into that type of thing, consider subscribing. So this is an episode of Quick Takes. We are covering the Canon EOS R5, and today we're tackling low light. I think that on YouTube, a lot of times we think of low light as shooting in the dark. And the fact is that no matter which camera you use, if you decide to shoot in the dark without any light at all, then really you're not going to end up with a great looking image or an image that you might even be able to use. Low light, from my perspective, as a filmmaker, has to do with how you utilize light, how you shape and create depth, maybe in your shot, while keeping the attention on your point of interest. I really do believe that that is a misconception. Low light shooting does not equal no lights. It generally means you plan out your shot so that light creates the depth and the frame that you are needing so that you can actually tell your story. For those of you who are interested, I'm of course using the Canon EOS R5. I'm using a 50mm lens. And for this very specific shot, I'm at f4.5. So f4.5 in this shot. 50mm. It's not too bad. I can't see any noise at all on the LCD screen, which I think is really important. And that's not to say there won't be any noise, right? We'll find out when I bring it into post and I see sort of the log version and then the graded version to try to determine, how much cleanup and how much maintenance would I actually need if I'm shooting in a low light scenario. But as you can see, the exposure appears to be spot on, and I am shooting this in log, so 8K log. I'll say that I had a lot of fun shooting this project, but using only practical lights actually forced me to think differently because I didn't have my crew with. I did it all on my own. I literally used a monopod, the Canon EOS R5, and then whatever practical lights were around the house or outside to frame up and come up with each of these different shots. So I thought I would throw this shot in just because it's funny to me. This is actually how I get woken up every day. I'm usually the last person to go to bed, sometimes well after midnight. Bert's alarm goes off, she gets up, goes in the bathroom, turns on the lights, and now it's 5 a.m. and it's time for me to also get up. So in true Quick Take style, we're going to go through a few different low light scenarios so that you guys can judge for yourself. We've all seen the shots where the cell phone is actually being used as a key light. So I thought it would be good to throw this kind of shot in so that you guys can sort of see what that performance is like. The scene at the bar is actually being lit by 3 little bar lights. They're single source pendulum type lights that sit across the bar, very low power. So here's a quick low light example. We've done low light before for other cameras, and I just thought maybe we should just check out what the different scenes might be able to offer so that you guys can get a sense as to how much we might be able to get out of the Canon EOS R5 in some practical only lit environments. I think that this will give us a good opportunity to sort out, the capabilities and the limitations of low light with Canon EOS R5. And as you can see, that's the result when using the Canon EOS R5. And sometimes nature helps you create that depth. So we are literally 10 minutes from sunrise. So early morning, sun's not out yet, or at least it hasn't broken the horizon. So this would be considered blue hour. And this is kind of what you can expect when it comes to low light out of the Canon EOS R5. One thing you're going to want to be careful if you're shooting in that practical only type of scenario where it is incredibly low light is that if you choose to use autofocus, you're going to want to be very careful that the camera does not lose the face, because if it loses the face, you're going to see a little bit of hunting. I've come to expect that if I'm shooting in low light, I'm going to get noise. Generally speaking, capturing in 8K, downscaling to 4K, as long as I'm not using only available light or practicals, results in an organic feel to the noise. So I don't always have to denoise unless I am going for a commercial look, in which case every single time, regardless of the shot, on red, I have to denoise. With the Canon EOS R5, I found that they perform very similar. The noise is similar to what I can expect out of the red, but in some cases, it is much less. The other thing that is significantly different between the red and my Canon EOS R5 is the fact that I get considerably more detail out of my R5 than I can get out of my red 8K helium using the exact same lens in the exact same scenario. If you want to see that video, be sure to leave a thumbs up and leave a comment below, and we'll make that happen. I find it fascinating how much music can add or impact to a scene. And that's going to lead me to talking about today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Artlist. If you haven't tried Artlist, I'm going to highly suggest that you consider it. I'll put a link in the comments so you guys can check them out. But you can take any scene, a scene like this one, for example. With the right music, that could be a very intense moment. Switch up the music, and you end up with a sad moment.
I can never be lonely. If you promise you won't leave, I'll never be lonely.
Switch up the music again, and you end up with a creepy moment.
Welcome to the plush life in the Palisades, where the laws don't apply, just get your way. If you need to change your pace from your day to day, bring your classy over here tonight.
And here's what I'm going to say about Artlist. I've used all the other services, but the Artlist library continues to grow faster than any other library that I've ever used. And that includes the big guys, the guys that all of the famous YouTubers have their own dedicated playlist on their websites. Artlist just has more unique content, more variety, easier to search, and best of all, a lot of new tracks on a continuous basis so that your videos stand out from others. So do I recommend Artlist? I use it every day. In fact, every track in this video came from Artlist. I'm going to be very curious to find out how much noise reduction, if any, I'm going to need to do. If I'm shooting in 8K and I'm delivering in 4K, do I still need to do noise reduction? That's going to be one of the byproducts of this little quick take test. Let's talk about the Sony a7s III, a low light monster, right? I'm not one to take anything away from the Sony a7s III's low light capabilities, but I'm going to tell you that for every shot that you've seen in this video, I never went above ISO 1600. So if I don't need to go above ISO 1600, then what is this benefit in being able to shoot at these astronomical ISOs? Because at the end of the day, I can tell my story just using practicals, and the clips look, well, you judge for yourself and let me know in a comment. And by the way, I didn't do any custom grading. All I did was drop in my HBO LUT right onto the clip. I'll be talking more about that LUT pack later in case any of you guys are interested. So what's the takeaway of this video? It's actually really simple. The better you know your gear, the better image you can end up with. And one thing to keep in mind, regardless of which camera camp you're on, whether it's Sony or Canon or Red or Arri or Blackmagic or Fujifilm, it doesn't really matter. Cameras and gear do not get you more clients. They generally don't. So if you're trying to pursue a career in cinematography, videography, image making of any kind, the camera that you choose is just the tool that makes your workflow work. It is not the tool that is going to end up getting you the paid gigs so that you can continue to prosper. That really needs to be the takeaway of today's video. So again, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. This was an episode of Quick Takes featuring the Canon EOS R5. Until next time, I'm Carlos with Media IQ, and I will catch you guys later. Take care.